So basically we had discussed last time that flow control is a technique used by TCP to control the congestion in the network. And then we had discussed how congestion happens in the network. We had said that the congestion could happen because the buffer in the router, okay, it may not be able to handle the speed at which the sender is sending the data, the rate at which the sender is transmitting the data, or the buffer in the receiver may not be able to handle the rate of transmission of the sender. So these are the two main reasons due to which congestion happens in the network. Okay, so basically flow control is used to prevent congestion. So what it does, it controls the rate at which the sender transmits the data. Okay, so it tries to control the rate at which the sender transmits the data, and then it hopes that congestion will not happen in the network. Okay, but you know that, like if you take a real life example, in on our roads we have a traffic police, we have traffic lights, we have all the infrastructure on the road, but despite all of that, still sometimes traffic jams happen. Okay, so even though we try to prevent a traffic jam by trying to have all these facilities, okay, um, we try to build over bridges, we try to have 3 lane, 2 lane, 4 lane highways, but still despite that, due to various factors, the traffic jams could happen. So flow control is just the attempt at trying to prevent the congestion, but congestion could still happen. Okay, so remember that. You have already studied about this previously. Okay, so like I told you, you can just go through this slide. We have discussed this last time. Any point you don't understand, you can let me know. Okay, so I think we had discussed this last time. So if you are having any doubt, you can let me know. So I will teach you one method. Okay, just one method for flow control. There are a lot of methods. So the method that we are going to discuss for flow control that is deployed by the TCP is known as the sliding window protocol. Okay, so sliding window protocol, and we will try to discuss how it works. Okay, so basically in sliding window protocol, the sender and the receiver exchange the size of the window. That is, the window is basically the number of packets. Window is one term known as the congestion window, or it could be known as the advertised window. So basically it's the size of the buffer of the receiver. Okay, so the receiver indicates the size of its buffer through what is known as a congestion window. Okay, so it allows the sender to determine how many packets can be sent simultaneously to the receiver without causing a overflow. Okay, so the moment overflow happens, packets are lost, and if packets are lost, then those packets need to be retransmitted. So if every sender keeps retransmitting the packets to their receiver, then such a thing could lead to congestion. Okay, so in order to prevent that, the TCP has come up with a mechanism known as flow control, which will control the speed at which the sender will send packets. Okay, so one of the mechanisms known as sliding window protocol, the sender and the receiver first only determine something known as a congestion window, and the congestion window is nothing but the size of the receiver's buffer. Okay, so once the sender knows about the size of the window, okay, whatever is the receiver's buffer size, then it knows that it can send so much amount of data equal to that window size without causing a buffer overflow. Okay, so when it sends those packets which are equal to that window size, it will send those packets simultaneously. It could send them simultaneously or one after another, but it will not wait for that many acknowledgements. Okay, it can send so many packets without having to wait for the acknowledgements of previous packets. Okay, so many that it can send the number of packets equal to the window size. So it will send the packets and then it will wait. Once the window size has been hit, it will stop the transmission and it will wait for the acknowledgements. Okay, so once some acknowledgements come, it can start retransmitting. So basically, the window size helps the sender to determine how many packets it can send without waiting for acknowledgement. Okay, so that also helps to maintain the speed. Otherwise, the sender would send only one packet, wait for acknowledgement, send another packet, wait for acknowledgement. So that would make the transmission very slow. Okay, so in order to prevent it, they allow the sender to send simultaneously some packets equal to that window size without having to wait for the acknowledgements. Okay, let's take one example and see. So just assume that the sender is having so many packets to send. Okay, I've just numbered it here. So say it is having 11 packets to send from packet 0 to packet 10. Okay, so before the transmission happens, the sender and receiver will determine the window size, the congestion window size. So basically, like I told you, the congestion window is nothing but the size of the buffer of the receiver. Okay, so let's assume that the sender and the receiver fix the window size as 4. Okay, so what this 4 stands for? The 4 stands for, it means the sender can send 4 packets without waiting for acknowledgements. Okay, so what it means is the sender normally would have sent one packet. Okay, and to confirm that a packet has reached safely, suppose this was some packet 0, it would wait for the acknowledgement. Okay, so sending one packet at a time like this would be time consuming and waste of bandwidth. So this packet has been sent, acknowledgement has been received, then it sends the next packet, then waits for acknowledgement. So doing all of this is very time consuming. Okay, so what they have done is they have determined first only something known as the window size. So that means the sender can now send 4 packets at a time without having to wait for the acknowledgements. Okay, so what it will do is it will send these 4 packets, say this one, the packet 0, packet 1, packet 2 and packet 3. Okay, these are the 4 packets. So it will send 4 packets to the receiver. So packet 0, 1, 2 and 3. After it has sent 4 packets, it knows if it sends the 5th packet, it will result in a buffer overflow. So it stops the transmission at this point. So that's why this is like a kind of a window. Okay, 4 packets have been sent. Now the sender stops its transmission. So it has to wait for some acknowledgements to come before it restarts its transmission. Okay, now it did not wait for all the 4 acknowledgements to come. Okay, it did not wait for all the 4 packets that it has transmitted for all their acknowledgements to come. Even if one packet acknowledgement comes, it can restart the transmission. Okay, why we can restart? Because like I told you, what this number tells? This number tells that sender can send 4 packets without waiting for acknowledgement. Okay, please note down this, what I'm saying. The window size tells that sender can send this many number of packets without waiting for acknowledgement. So when we started with the transmission, 4 packets have been sent, and now the sender is waiting for transmissions. So it does not mean that it has to wait for all the packets that it has sent for their transmissions to come. So when suppose the receiver has got this packet, it acknowledges the first packet. It acknowledges packet 0. Okay. Now my question to you all is, for how many packets it is waiting, the sender is waiting for acknowledgements? How many packets are remaining for which the sender has not received the acknowledgement in the current situation? So if you see here, okay, the sender is waiting for 3 packets acknowledgement. Okay, packet 1, it has not got the acknowledgement. Similarly, it has not got the acknowledgement for packet 2 and packet 3. Okay, so it is waiting for now 3 packets whose acknowledgement is not yet come. Okay, now when you look at this number here 3 and you compare it with this window size 4, what does this tell you? That the sender can send one more packet. Since the window size is 4, okay, the sender can send one more packet without having to wait for the acknowledgement, because like I told you at the beginning itself, this number here, the window size, is the number of packets that can be sent by the sender without having to wait for acknowledgement. So now in the present situation, since one acknowledgement has already been received and it is waiting for 3 acknowledgements, okay, it can send one more packet so that it will become equal to the window size and then stop its transmission. Okay, so what it could do is, now basically, since it has got this acknowledgement of packet 0, it will move this window from here ahead. Okay, so now it could send one more packet, that is packet 4 across. When it sends this packet 4, how many packets now it is waiting for acknowledgement? Packet 1, packet 2, packet 3, packet 4. So now it is waiting for 4 packets acknowledgement, which is equal to the window size. So now it has to stop the transmission. So when the number of packets that have been sent and whose acknowledgement has not yet received is equal to the window size, the sender has to stop the transmission. Okay, so now it has to stop the transmission and wait for the packet's acknowledgement to come. Okay, so suppose, just for example, okay, I want you all to answer. Say the receiver sends 2 acknowledgements back. It sends acknowledgement for packet 1, it sends acknowledgement for packet 2. Okay, now can you tell me for how many packets the sender has not yet got acknowledgement? So you can check here, receiver has sent this acknowledgement 0, 1, 2. Okay, so for which packets the sender is waiting for the acknowledgements? Correct, it is waiting for the packets acknowledgement, that is 3 and 4. Okay, so basically how many packets is waiting for acknowledgement? Is waiting for the acknowledgement of 2 packets. Okay, it's waiting for the acknowledgement of 2 packets of packet 3 and packet 4. So 2 packets acknowledgement. Okay, how many packets it could send without waiting for acknowledgement? Total is 4. Okay, so 4 minus 2, how many packets more it can send without waiting for acknowledgement? 4 minus 2, the answer is equal to 2. Okay, so here 2 packets are there already which have been sent, 3 and 4, for which it is waiting for acknowledgement. Clear? Now 4 minus 2 is equal to 2. This is the window size. Okay, so it can send another 2 packets without having to wait for acknowledgement. So which are the other packets it can send is 5 and 6. Now it can send 5, it can send 6. Okay, so when it sends this 5 and 6, how many packets now it is waiting for acknowledgement? 4 packets, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So 4, this number 4 is equal to window size. When it is equal to the window size, what it would have to do, the sender will have to stop the transmission. Okay, now this is your window. The window here is now, okay, this is not getting erased. So your window here is now this. Okay, I'll just make it little. So your window here is this 3, 4, 5 and 6. So since these are the 4 packets it is waiting for the acknowledgement, the sender cannot transmit now. At least it has to wait for one more acknowledgement to come. When one more acknowledgement comes, the number of packets for which it is waiting, acknowledgement for which it is waiting is less than the equal to the window size. So when the number of packets that it is waiting for is equal to less than the window size, you can retransmit that many number of packets. And the packets become equal to window size, it has to wait for acknowledgements to come. Are you getting the point how it is working, the sliding window? Okay. Now, if I just tell you next, say it receives, the sender sends the packets acknowledgement 3, 4, 5, 6. Suppose the sender sends the receiver sends the acknowledgement 3, 4, 5, 6. Then according to this diagram, which packets the sender can send? Suppose the receiver sends those packets 3, 4 and 5, 6. Yeah, Saurav, can you try? Yes, students, can you try? Suppose the receiver has sent the acknowledgements 3, 4, 5, 6. Then which are the packets? Which packets the sender can send? I hope you all are sitting with a notebook and working on it. Yes, correct. Yes, correct. So it can send the packets 7, 8, 9, 10. Correct. Correct. Okay. Yeah, Yash. It expects the. See, there are like I told you, there are various versions of this flow control techniques. Okay. So the one that I mentioned, I don't know how you all have studied this in your previous subject. Okay. So maybe the one that I mentioned in your textbook, it is mentioned that the sender is waiting for the acknowledgement for each packet. Okay. So yeah. So I'm teaching you according to what is there on your textbook. Okay, so students, anyone has any doubt about how this number has been reached? How this 7, 8, 9, 10 is getting transmitted? Please tell me, I can explain it to you. So these students have answered correctly that the packets that can be transmitted next by the sender is 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the correct answer. So can anyone who has not understood this, you can let me know. Then I will explain you this, how the sender will send the packets as 7, 8, 9, 10. Everyone is clear about how it works, the sliding window? Please let me know if you're having any difficulty. I can repeat it. Okay. Yeah. So that's the way it will work, and you will get the packets that are transmitted next as 7, 8, 9, 10. So basically, the sender will keep sending the number of packets equal to the window size, and then wait for the acknowledgements to come. Okay. The moment the acknowledgements come, it will start retransmitting. Okay. So that's how it works. So just look at this example that was previously there on the slide. So first the sender sends 4 packets, then it will wait for at least one acknowledgement to come. Okay, at least one acknowledgement should come before it can send again. Okay, so say the receiver has sent one acknowledgement. So now the number of packets, since one acknowledgement is come, the number of packets that it is waiting for is equal to 3. So it retransmits one more packet, which is 4. Okay, so it sends the 4th packet across since one acknowledgement came, and it stops the transmission, and the window moves ahead. So originally the window was on the packets 0, 1, 2, 3. So now since it is waiting for this acknowledgement, this window indicates for which packets the sender is waiting for the acknowledgements. Okay, so basically as the acknowledgements are received, the window slides and it highlights the packets for which the acknowledgements have not yet been received. Okay, so right now it shows that these are the packets for which the acknowledgement is not yet come. So then as the acknowledgements come, the window will keep on sliding and it will highlight the packets for which the acknowledgements have not yet come. So now say the next acknowledgement comes of packet 1, then one more packet can be sent. So now it shows that 2, 3, 4 and 5, these packets acknowledgement is not yet come. So at a time, as you can see, only 4 packets at a time the sender is sending and then waiting for the acknowledgements to come, because the size has been fixed at 4. Okay, please remember, since the size is 4, it is happening at 4. If this was 6, then you would have to wait for 6 packets at a time. Okay, this is what we have previously learnt in your subject in CN. So this is how it works. Okay, so the moment the transmission is exceeding the buffer size, the sender stops the transmission and waits for the acknowledgement to come. Okay, so if the acknowledgements come, then it will retransmit or it will transmit the next packet. But if the acknowledgements don't come, okay, it can detect it using the 2 mechanisms that we had discussed last time. One is the transmission timeout and one is duplicate acknowledgements. So if it detects any of this, then it will sense that there's a packet loss and it will try to retransmit that particular packet. Okay, so basically this is the way it functions. So if a packet has been lost or some timeout happens, it may retransmit only that packet. Okay, instead of retransmitting all the packets. So basically flow control is used to prevent congestions on the sender side. You control the speed of the sender and hope that congestion does not happen. Okay, and you will hope that congestion will not happen. Now if this, like I told you, this mechanism is known as sliding window protocol. Okay, now in our fixed networks, in our wired networks, we assume that most of the times whenever a packet is lost, okay, that packet loss will be happening due to congestions happening in the network. Okay, so if anytime a packet is lost for whatever reason, the sender has to retransmit the packet, the sender will assume that the packet got lost due to congestion in the network. Okay, it will not assume any other reason. So then it will try to do some congestion control techniques. Okay, there are various methods for avoiding or preventing or recovering from congestions. So then it will start those mechanisms. Okay, this is what happens in wired networks. Okay, so it will assume that due to congestion, the packet has been lost. Now, this happens in wired networks. Okay, what do you think in a wireless network? Why do packets may get lost? Why do packets may get lost? What do you think could be the reasons? Like I told you, in wired networks, if packets are lost, we will directly assume that there's congestion, and we'll start with all the techniques of TCP with relation to congestion avoidance, control, recovery, and so on. Okay, but in wireless networks, if a packet is lost, what could be the possible reasons? Could you type out in the chat whatever if you can come up with some reasons? What could be the reasons that a wireless network or mobile network, means what could be the possible reasons behind a packet loss in such networks? If at least you could come up with some of the reasons. Okay, yeah. So again, yeah, there could be congestion, there could be collision. Okay, so let's just discuss some points on this, I think, and then we'll proceed with the next slide. Okay, so basically, with respect to your wireless networks, okay, like one of the reasons that packets could get lost is again due to congestion. Okay, due to congestion. The second reason could be, okay, when the transmission was happening, you were in range, okay, but as the transmission was proceeding, once the connection, you moved out of range. Okay, moved out of range, so due to that you lost the connection. Okay, whereas your systems are fixed, it cannot move out of range. Your computer cannot walk by itself, whereas your mobile can move. Okay, so due to that also packets could get lost. Okay, you may move out of the range, your tower may not be able to connect to your mobile and transmit the data. Secondly, noise also could cause problems. Okay, there could be noise in the medium. Okay, due to the noise, your packets may not get delivered, or it may result in errors. Okay, then you may get disconnected. Okay, then packets may also get lost during handoff. What is handoff? When you're moving from one tower to the other tower, the connection has to be handed over from one cell to another cell, from one tower to another tower. So when that connection is being handed over from one tower to another tower, that time also packets may get lost. Okay, so that is known as handoff. Okay, then these are the other reasons, like, so because of your mobiles may have like a higher packet loss due to all these reasons that I mentioned on the previous slide. Okay, so the moment your TCP is designed in a way that the moment packet has been lost, okay, the moment packet has been lost, it has been designed to think that the packet loss is due to congestion. Okay, it has been designed. Now which TCP I'm talking about? The fixed computer TCP, the wired TCP. Okay, the TCP that works on your computers, on the wired networks. So that TCP has been designed to work in a way that packet has been lost. That means it has to be a congestion, and if there is a congestion, then it will start all those congestion control methods. Okay, but like I showed you in this slide, in wireless network, the packet could be lost due to other reasons. One of the reasons the packet could be lost is due to congestion, but packet could be also lost because the user has moved out of range. Okay, so if a user has moved out of range, it does not mean that your network is having congestion. Okay, and does not mean that you have to start with congestion control methods, congestion recovery methods. Okay, so my question to you now is based on what I have told you. Okay, again I'll just repeat those 2 points, then I will ask you the question. In wired networks, moment packet is lost, what we think, what has happened in the network? Congestion has happened. Okay, in a wireless network, when a packet has been lost, it could be due to one of the several reasons, like one of the several reasons mentioned on this slide. Okay, one reason could be congestion, other reason could be no mobility, means you're not connected, or some errors or noise, or when your connection is being handed over from one tower to another tower. So it does not mean that every time a packet is lost in wireless network, it does not mean that there is a congestion. So my question to you all now is, can the same TCP that has been used in wired networks, can that same TCP be used in wireless networks? Because I told you the wired TCP has been designed to assume, what it has been designed to assume? That a packet loss will happen because of congestion. So if congestion happens, what the TCP will do? All the techniques that you have studied for congestion recovery. Okay, this is what it has been designed for wired networks. Now, can this same TCP that has been designed for this reason, can it be used for wireless network? Can it be used? I'm showing you the reasons so that you can answer, analyze and answer. Can the same TCP that has been designed, the wired TCP has been designed to kickstart the congestion recovery method if a packet has been lost? So can that same TCP of wired network, can that same TCP be used without any modification in wireless network? Okay, I showed you the reasons for loss of packets in wireless networks. So can the same TCP be used? Okay, so yeah, so the answer is what Sakshi says. Okay, you cannot use the same TCP. Okay, because like I'm showing you in this slide, the packets are in wireless networks are not lost only due to congestion. Okay, packets could be lost due to other reasons also. So therefore, the same TCP that is used in wired networks cannot be used for wireless networks. Okay, please, are you getting this point? It's a very important question for your exam. Okay, so you need to mention, if you ask this question, you need to mention this, that in a wired network the packet loss will occur mostly due to congestion. Okay, and then the TCP will start all the techniques for congestion control or congestion recovery and all those. But whereas in a wireless network, packets could be lost due to one of the reasons, could be congestions, but there are several other reasons, and so the same TCP cannot be used. You cannot simply start the congestion control methods if packet has been lost due to noise, or if you have got disconnected from the network. Okay, so the same methods cannot be used. If you are simply disconnected from the network, we cannot start with congestion control methods. Is it clear what I'm trying to tell you? So that is what happens in a wireless network, the reasons for loss of packet in a wireless network. Okay, so Yash, yes, so if wired TCP was in wireless networks, okay, what would happen is, due to this congestion control methods, like you have studied this in CN, congestion control, all these methods is basically the packets are lost and you are retransmitting the packets, no? Because you assume that the packets are lost, you are retransmitting the packets. So since you retransmit the packets, in a wireless network, it could lead to bandwidth wastage, because it could be that you're not getting the packets. The simple reason could be you have turned off the mobile data, okay, or you have gone away from the range of the mobile tower, and due to which the packets are getting dropped. Okay, that does not mean that there is congestion in the network, right? So simply if that TCP starts with the congestion control methods on wireless, it will lead to bandwidth wastage. So yeah, you're correct. Simply starting with the congestion control methods in TCP could lead to bandwidth wastage unless there is really congestion. Okay, so that's why the TCP needs to be modified. Okay, that's why the TCP needs to be modified to work in wireless networks. So I am clear with this, what we have just discussed. Any doubts about this? About this slide? Any point you need me to explain again? This answer needs to be explained again. It's an important question for you for exams. So normally, like you know that in our mobile networks, you may be out of range quite often. Okay, so that's why the packets may get lost. So the packet loss in mobile networks is quite higher compared to packet loss in fixed networks. Okay, so every time the packets are lost in the wireless networks, you cannot assume there's a congestion and then start with the congestion recovery methods. So then if you keep doing that, then your bandwidth, the network will be inefficient, the bandwidth will be wasted, then the transmission will become slow. Okay, so that is what will happen. Or you will simply keep transmitting the data, okay, retransmitting the data and leading to bandwidth wastage. So we should try to avoid this. So to avoid that, we just modify that TCP in order to make it work efficiently with wireless networks. So I am clear about this. Should I proceed? Muskan, Nidhi, Nikita, Pooja, understood? Anyone? I'm just taking the names that I can find first on the chat. Okay. The question is to everyone. Have you all understood? Okay. So let's proceed then. So next, before we actually see how to modify the TCP, we need to look like today we have already learned one method for flow control known as sliding window. Okay. And next, then we want to see at one of the performance, one of the techniques to improve congestions. Okay, if a congestion has happened, then what to do? So we are going to talk with respect to wired networks only. Okay, just remember what I'm going to talk next is with respect to wired networks only and nothing to do with wireless. We are going to see with respect to your wired networks, if a congestion has happened, okay, then what your TCP will do. So you may have already studied this method previously, so we'll just revise it. Okay. So in order to improve your performance, the TCP performance, in case your congestion has happened, so first we'll see how that will happen in traditional networks. That is, traditional networks means your fixed networks. Okay, and then we'll see how the TCP can be improved in mobile networks, so that TCP will function properly in wireless networks. Okay, so in your traditional networks, that is your fixed networks, basically these are the three things that we'll be looking at to recover from congestion, or if packets are lost, then what to do. Okay, so the first thing will be slow start, then to do second thing will be the congestion avoidance. Again, it's related to slow start. and the third will be fast retransmit or fast recovery. Okay, so I don't know what's the time. Okay, I think it's almost time up. So basically, I'll start with these topics on a fresh class. Okay, well, simply then I will have to do it fast. So just remember this, that we are going to go through these three topics. If you all have time before the next lecture, you all can just go through these topics, revise your concepts. Okay, it will become easier for you to understand. If you all are too busy, then we can always, you can attend a lecture and listen. Okay, it's just a revision of your previous subject. Okay, till now we're not studying anything new, so it's just a revision of your previous subject. But I think I made myself clear how the TCP of the fixed networks cannot be used in wireless networks. Okay, so if you all are not having any doubts, then I would like to take attendance and stop the class. Do you all have any doubts in any of the slides that we have done from Monday? Okay, so I'll stop the recording here.